I just didn't know if like some banks advertise non-compounding for some
No, they don't really. Banks don't like to be very clear in their advertisements one way or the other what the fine print is, if you know what I'm saying. Yes, Theo.
What is the difference?
Let's talk about that's essentially what we're going to learn today.
So
it's
can
like
I make a guess?
Sure.
So compound interest, basically the interest, it goes, so it's 2%, and so you have $2,000. If that's raised to $3,000, then 2%'s on the new number.
Yeah, basically, that's exactly what it is. And the reason we love as consumers on an investment compound interest is your money grows really, really quickly. Okay, so. How much? So if you get 2% interest on $2,000 every year, okay, how much interest are you going to make in the first year?
$40.
How'd you get that?
I multiplied 2,000 times 1.02.
If you did 2,000 times 1.02,
It gets you 2,040.
Okay.
Subtract the 2,000.
for right now, I'm just going to do the interest, which is just the 0.02, which is $40. Okay, so in that first year, you make $40 in interest. And at the end of the year, you would take your original 2,000, because if it's an investment, you don't touch it, right? You're going to add that $40 to it, and you get $2,040. But as Griffin said, if you wanted to, instead of multiplying by 0.02 and then adding 2,000, if we just started from the beginning and said 2,000 times 1.02, we'd find out that at the end, we would have $2,040. Okay.
We have different questions.
You're on the wrong page.
Oh.
Is everybody good so far?
Great. How are you?
Swell.
I don't know what I'm trying to ask, but I don't know how we got the 1.02.
So in the same way as when we were doing those growth factors, you have 100% of your money plus another 2% of your money. So 100% plus 2% is 102%, yes? And to change percents to decimals, you move that decimal twice.
Yes, but where's the 100? Because I see where
The one of the 1.02 is the 100.
Like, why are you putting
Yeah.
that there?
You put the number like that.
What do you mean?
Like, previously you did 2,000 parentheses and then you did like the 2%.
Okay, so doing 2,000, so essentially, if we wanted to do one step, we would do 2,000 plus 2,000 times 0.02, yeah? If we combine these two things, because this 40 we got from doing 2,000 times that 0.02,
Okay.
right? This is equivalent to saying 2,000 times 1.02. Like, think of it as like x plus x times 0.02 would be 1.02x. Okay. All right. So anytime I want to figure out how much interest I get after a year, I could multiply whatever's in the account by that 1.02. All right. So if I say how much will be in the account after 2 years, I could take that 2,040 and multiply by 1.02.
Which would be 2,080.8.
So now, I don't want to point out just that the amount went up, but we also added more interest this time than we did last time. Almost an extra $1 worth of interest. All right, and really, that 2,040 was a 2,000 times 1.02, and then we multiplied that by 1.02 again. Yes?
For the questions that says
how long will it take for the account's balance to reach $1,200? How is that gonna work if it's compounded interest? How does it lose value?
I think what happened is that last year this was a $1,000 and then I changed it and forgot to change the problem further on down.
Okay.
So I'll probably change that to like 2,500 or something. We're just not there yet. Is everybody good? So 2 years I multiplied by 1.02 2 times. If for 10 years I multiply by or for 3 years I would be 2,000 times 1.02 how many times? 3. And then for 10 years we would do 2,000 times 1.02 to the 10. What are we getting?
For 3 years, 2,122.41 cents. And then for 10 years, 2,437.98 cents.
We run.
99.
Yeah, 99.
What was the change on the first one?
416.
416.
So 42 cents. Yeah. How are we feeling on this?
Good.
All right, so what kind of function can tell me just the balance of the account? What should I do in this case?
Would it be 2,000 times 1.2 and then
1.02
yeah 1.02 and then the exponent is like t.
for over 2 years. If you used y, that would be fine. Okay. Yeah, and then guys, it doesn't make sense that the account balance will go down. Let's go ahead and change this to 2,500. In the previous question, or in the previous years, I used a different dollar amount here, and I changed it for a reason that'll become apparent on the next page.
Inflation?
No. I should have from the get-go had the dollar amounts for both pages be the same for better comparisons.
Sorry, what number should we use?
2,500. All right, so if that were the case, the final amount would be 2,500 equals 2,000 times 1.02 to the t power. How would you guys solve this?
Combine 2001.02.
Log.
You can't combine the 2,000 times the 1.02 because that 1.02
Has the T on it.
has the t on it. Yeah. So before we can take the log of both sides, are you guys with me that I need to divide by 2,000 on each side? Like I gotta get that exponential expression completely by itself. And then I'm assuming this is 1.25, but if somebody wanted to double check my math there, that would be great.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Now what do you want to do, Theo?
Log.
Take the log of both sides. So now I have the log of 1.25 equals t times the log of 1.02. So what's t?
Um, 11.27.
Sounds like about 11 years and 3 months, give or take. Okay, so new situation, what would the model be? In this case,
5,000, parentheses, 1.15, parentheses, to the T power.
0.015?
0.015. Because 0.15 would be 15%. And guys, if you find any investment returning 15%, jump on it.
Even like a loan?
An investment, I said. Any investment that whether the return is 15%.
A loan is investment on the downfall of your future.
I know this might be like outside of the loan expertise, but is it, how much like in return or like interest is a war bond?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
But that feels very Googleable. Here, let's see.
Yeah,
We're not on board time at the moment.
I know we aren't, but it's like I'm kind of.
What is the current rate of return on U.S. Treasury bonds? 1.57%.
But they are also a very safe investment.
They are a very safe investment.
Yeah,
I watched the whole video on it one time, it was very boring.
I think that's what. Isn't that what they were after in Die Hard? It's like the treasury bonds.
I think it was just.
I haven't taken attendance yet, sorry.
But that's a great Christmas movie.
Yep.
That's a very sweet movie.
Yep.
Well,
Jada? Yeah, that's fine. How are we feeling so far? Good? Okay. So, in some respects, I want to make sure there's a vocabulary thing that I want to make sure comes across, okay? Are you guys with me that essentially what causes that interest to happen is we multiply by 1 point something? That's what causes that interest to happen. So that's when the compounding takes place. And yes, some investments compound year 40 when it was once a year. So it's going to be slightly versus compounded yearly. Monthlies, some compound more frequently than yearly. I'm sorry? Let's hope not. You want interest to compound. Well, let's see. So instead of compounding yearly, let's look at what happens when we compound monthly. Okay? Now, when you, and this is true, because when you hear a loan or a investment and they give you a percentage, they typically give you a yearly percentage, but not always. Okay, so this is one of those things that you actually want to be a consumer of understanding. Okay, so let's go ahead and say, same exact thing, $2,000 bonus, but this time instead of compounding yearly, it's going to compound monthly. Is everybody with me? So the thing is, you don't get 2% every month. You would get 2% every year. So each month, you get 1/12 of the interest for the year. Does this make sense? Yes.
I don't know if you can answer this, but like, what would be the purpose of doing it monthly rather than just doing it all in one, like, big 2%?
Make more money.
The bank doesn't. Well, we're gonna do the calculation to show you, but essentially the reason they do that is a lot of times you get monthly statements and they want to show you where you are each month.
Okay.
Like all of my investments, I get a monthly. Granted, I do it virtual, like email, but I get a monthly statement that tells me this is how much I made this month. This is how much I made the previous 3 months. This is how much I made in the. So that's why, basically, if they wait until the end of the year, then it's going to look like you didn't get any interest for that whole time. The other reason that they do this is, and this will become more apparent later on, is when you do it monthly, right? Let's say you do monthly and then you add $20 each month. In the bank's mind, if you add $20, it's better for the bank if you add $20 each month, right? On top of what your initial investment is. Okay? And so for like a savings account, is in particular, the reason they do this is then it incentivizes you to add more money each month, basically. Did that kind of answer that question?
Yeah.
All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to say how often is something compounded in a year, and you're going to take your interest rate and divide by that. So to compound this interest, you would take that 2,000 times 1 plus that interest rate divided by 12, because of, 12 months in a year. And guys, what does that work out to be? 2003.33 for now. Okay? And what if so after 2 months, or after 12 months, what would your balance be? Well, now you're still going to, so now to do that compounding, that 1 plus something you're compounding is going to be 1 plus 0.02 divided by 12. But now for 12 months, how many times have you multiplied by that value, by that factor? 12. So what's your balance after a year? It's going to be bigger than that.
2,536.
Can someone type this in?
I typed it in, I got 2040.
Yeah, 37 cents.
Okay. That I would buy. But I wouldn't buy 2040. It's going to be bigger than when because we got 2000 here. Does that make sense? And then after 2 years? How many times compounding would 2 years be? 24. What are we getting?
2081.55.
Just measuring.
Mm-hmm.
I got 2,973. So
Make sure you did 0.02 divided by 12 and not 0.2.
Yes.
And 3 years would be 36, right? 10 years would be? What are our answers here? $2,442. That's the 10-year. What was the 3 years, y'all?
2,123
And then 2,400. Is that right?
42.
Okay. What I want to point out, compounded monthly, a little bit better, yeah?
Yeah. I feel
So-
like it's more just to make the bank look better.
Look better?
Yeah, because they're like, oh, we're giving you more money.
I mean, it's really, their intention is not, because, to them, it's not that much more money. The bigger piece is to incentivize the more you put in, the more interest you're going to earn. And so, in a bank's mind, or in an investment manager's mind, if you're doing, investing in the stock market, which isn't, the only difference between investing in, say, a bank account versus investing in a stock account, or a mutual fund is that when you invest in stocks, you're not guaranteed that percentage, right? So that percentage could even go where you owe money instead of, or you lose money versus earning money. And usually it's like high risk, high reward, low risk, low reward. But so to me, the bigger piece, the banks want you to invest more money each time. Because the more money for them, it's not they're giving you more money. They're saying, hey, look at how much money people trust us with, kind of situation. Where the more people or the more money invested with them, the more secure they are, if that makes sense.
Is there like a certain age that you need to be to get an investment banker, like through a bank?
My guess is it's more that you would need to have a certain sort of credential that you got after going through college.
Not to like work at one, but to like have one assigned to you.
Oh, I would imagine you have to be 18. I can't imagine that you would be allowed to risk your own money until you are of adult age. But like on the flip side, I think you could work with your parents and they could sign off. And just like you guys aren't allowed to borrow money until you're 18, but if your parents like co-sign a loan, then you could, kind of thing. I think. I would imagine that most of you will have your first loan co-signed by somebody, because your credit scores are going to be in the basement the minute you turn 18. For those of you who are not 18 anyway, you will have terrible credit.
So instantly start blowing it all on credit cards.
And starts maxing, overdrawing those credit cards as well to raise my credit score.
The easiest way to raise your credit score is to get a credit card or put your phone in your name or something, some sort of account, and spend a small amount on it and then pay it off every month. And then hold on to the same credit card for a really long time.
I think what my mother does is sometimes, like my brother and sister have credit cards, she'll use their credit cards for like large purchases and then just instantly pay it off.
The more times you pay off your credit card, the higher your credit score will be.
What if I overdraw it and don't pay those credit cards back?
The minute that you don't make your full payment on your credit card, your score will drop immediately.
See, I don't want a credit card for that reason.
But your score's already low. You can't build credit without some sort of account in which you are paying every month. Like, that's a huge component of something you need to do.
Yeah, like I know I'll have to get one, I just don't like the idea of it.
Yeah, that's kind of. Yeah, you should not be trusted.
Oh, I would never, yeah.
I haven't been in debt in a while.
Okay, in a while, I have
Okay,
never
yesterday
been in
was
debt.
bad because I went to go check out and my Venmo hadn't transferred, so I didn't have my money yet from when I was paid. So yes, I did have to put something back. I didn't know that, it was supposed to transfer. It had been 2 days. It was kind of dehumanizing.
All right, how are we feeling on this equation, y'all?
Great.
All right, and for this one, how long is it going to take for us to reach $2,500? So that would be 2,500 equals 2,000 times 1 plus 0.02 over 12 to the t power.
I think we should divide by 2,000 first.
I think so too. If we divide by that 2,000, we're going to get 1.25 equals 1 plus 0.02 to the divided by 12 all to the t power.
We subtract the 1.
Honestly, what I would do here, because you're trying, you can't, because that one's part of what's being raised to the t power. You're still just going to log both sides. So essentially, you're going to get log of 1.25 equals t times the log of that whole nasty expression.
So we can just log the entire expression.
Yeah. So really t is going to equal the log of 1.25 over the log of 1 plus 0.02 over 12. Like, it looks nasty, but it's...
Do you multiply by 12 before you log?
Mm-mm. You're literally just going to take log 1.25 divided by... Because this is a number of some kind, right? So we don't want to undo any part of that number. It's just a icky number. It's like I don't know. I bet it's like 1.0083 repeating, if I had to guess.
What was your prediction of like?
Of 1 plus 0.02 to the 12th is 1.0083333333333333.
I got 133.1.
I did too.
What?
133 months. I feel like
Well, okay, so 134. I got that. Okay, but yes, that is 134 months. Yes, okay. So
11.17.
11.17 years. So it would get there a month earlier. Ish. A little more than a month earlier. I do this math with my home loan very, very regularly. Like, I play the... How are we feeling about this, okay?
I feel a lot better.
Beautiful, just beautiful.
I don't get it.
A
Log.
A log.
Oh, I thought you said a lock better, and I was like...
I thought you did too.
Like, oh, you locked in that interest rate, like, lock? Or a log better? Does anybody have the final function there for the last one?
5,000 parentheses 1 plus 0.015 over 12 parentheses with a t in the exponent.
In this case, t would be
Months.
months. Sometimes people make t years and call it 12t, and that's fine.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, like, could you do, if you're looking at calculate years, at least in the exponent bar, you could do like, just say y for years, parentheses 12. If you,
Just don't use y twice, right? Like, in terms of, like, y equals ax plus a plus b to the x.